Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you guys celebrate. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope you enjoyed the Christmas football. The games weren't great, but NFL on Christmas, I could get used to it. I'm okay with it. Welcome into Four Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Like I said, hope you're having a fantastic holiday. We're going to react to Chiefs-Steelers, Ravens-Texans, and more importantly, talk big picture. AFC Playoff Picture. Things are starting to kind of shape up. And, I thought toward the end, the more things feel like they could change, the more they really stay the same, especially in the AFC. We'll get to all that as well. And listen, if you want to wish me a Merry Christmas, all you got to do, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on this video. The NFL playoffs are just around the corner. We're going to have daily coverage throughout the Super Bowl, and that'll continue into the offseason. We cover college football on this channel as well. We'll have my quarterfinal college football playoff predictions in the near future. So lock us in, hit the subscribe button. We are the channel for you. Okay, Chiefs 29, Steelers 10. We'll start with the early game here, go chronological order. There were a couple weird things early in this game. They blew a play dead on George Pickens that, maybe he turns the corner and gets a lot more yards, maybe not, who knows. But in the end, over 60 minutes, the Chiefs are just clearly the better team. Russell Wilson threw an awful pick in the end zone. Patrick Mahomes, since at Halloween, has 18 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. He's quietly playing at an MVP level the past 2 months. He's not going to win it, but after Lamar, who we're going to talk about, and Josh Allen, I think he'd be right there. They clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC, and the vibes are high, right? We saw at the end of the game, Kelsey and Mahomes going to the locker room. They're wearing their Netflix Santa jackets that they were given. Andy Reid had switched into his Santa gear. I mean, it was awesome. They're just, I get it. People are sick of the Chiefs. People don't like the Chiefs. They think they get every call known to mankind. I don't think 15-1's a fluke. I don't think you're 15-1 because you're getting all the calls. I think you're 15-1 because you know how to win. And all of a sudden, by the way, they're winning, and not all these games are close. Their last 3 games, their closest win was by 8 points, and it was a 2-score game against the Texans most of the way. They hammered the Browns 2 weeks ago. They crushed the Steelers today. They're really hitting their stride, and now they can take next week off, which I think they probably will. We'll talk about why in a second. Then they have the bye week, and then once again, the AFC goes through Arrowhead. And we'll kind of take a look at the AFC playoff picture as a whole as we go. But think about what the Chiefs just did. 3 games, 11 days. Mahomes tweaks the ankle in the middle there. Probably not as bad as the initial diagnosis would suggest. And they just 3-game sweep. No problem. Now they get all the time in the world off. Don't even need to play their key guys next week. Have the number 1 seed locked up. And for how much people doubt this team, they're 15-1. The 2-time defending champs are 15-1. It's incredible. They're playing their best ball at the right time. Mahomes, the offense, Worthy's really making plays. They got 2 running backs with Hunt and Pacheco. Kelsey all of a sudden feels like it's like, playoffs are around the corner. I'm going to ramp it up a notch. Hopkins, Marquise Brown is back. Defense, 5 sacks without Chris Jones today. Tershawn Wharton, quietly one of the more underrated players in the league. George Karlaftis making plays. They're just rolling, man. And for the Steelers, they're going the other way. Tomlin's done a nice job this year. Russell Wilson, for the most part, has played pretty well. Not peak Russ, but better than we've seen the last couple of years. But turnovers have crept in for him the last couple of weeks. Their offensive line, which, on paper all year didn't look that good, but had been playing pretty well. Now it's kind of playing what many thought it would look like, which is not that good. They're getting picked apart there. They're not running the ball as effectively. Their last 3 games, 27-13 loss in Philly, 34-17 loss in Baltimore, 29-10 home loss to the Chiefs. And listen, that's a gauntlet, but you were uncompetitive in all 3. And I look at this Pittsburgh team now. They fall to the 5 seed with Baltimore winning, who we'll talk about. They're on top of the AFC North, and all they have to do is be a Cleveland team with no healthy players next week to get to lock the number 3 seed up. The Steelers are going to be a wild card team again, and it's just kind of interesting that all year, and I still stand by it, Tomlin's done a great job with this team, But all year it was like, okay, with Russ playing like this, this is the Steelers team that can win a playoff game, maybe even two if they get the right draw. More likely than not, they're probably going to be one and done. Now, they might get the Houston Texans in the 4-5 game. Neither of those teams look like a real contender, but one of them's going to have to win. So, that's going to be a good draw for those two teams. But does anyone think Houston or Pittsburgh can win beyond that round? I would look at the Chargers and the Broncos and certainly the Bengals, if they rallied to get in, as bigger threats than Pittsburgh and Houston right now. I really, really would. So, great win for Kansas City. Really good stretch and focus for them to win all three of these games and clinch the number one seed. We'll see how they handle next week. And the reason I think they're going to sit their starters is if Denver wins next week, there's nothing Cincinnati can do to make the playoffs. And the Bengals have matched up pretty well against the Chiefs over the years. So if you're Kansas City, rest your starters. You should anyway. And if you happen to lose to Denver, it's probably the best outcome anyway because it keeps Joe Burrow out of the playoffs. Okay. Other game, Ravens-Texans, 31-2. The only points Houston got was a safety. I was shocked this wasn't scoregami. Apparently this score's happened a couple of times before, but not since the 1960s. Ravens move up to the 3 seed with the win and the Steelers loss. Texans are locked in at 4. They've won the division, so they can't fall to the wild card, but they cannot catch any of the top 3, so they are locked into the 4. So they very well could sit their starters next week. Let's see who they play, just for shits and giggles here. They play at the Titans, so I would expect them to sit. Now, maybe they play Stroud and those guys for a half just to try and get some rhythm here, because this offense, man, it's, I kind of felt like people were ignoring it most of the year. Like, they're winning. They've won the division. It'll be fine. They'll figure it out. They just have not figured it out. And I understand there's been injuries. Stephon Diggs has missed most of the season. Tank Dell's now out. The offensive line has played poorly most of the year. Stroud's also just not playing that well. I mean, early in this game, he misses a wide open Nico Collins. He had Dalton Schultz on a check down where if he just hits him, it's probably a 30-yard gain. Bobby Slowick, especially when this team gets down, doesn't seem to be able to string plays together, so he's under fire. Listen, they're still a good-ish team. Think about the situation DeMeco Ryans took over. They were the laughingstock of the league and back-to-back AFC South champs. But part of that is just this division's been bad and somebody has to win it. Again, there's levels to this, and you've got the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills all up here, whatever range you want to say. The Texans, you can't even see my hand. Like the Steelers, same deal. They're just in a different stratosphere. It's just not even close. And Lamar Jackson just surpassed Michael Vick for the most rushing yards for a quarterback in league history with, I think it's like 6,100 something. He's never thrown the ball better. He's closing in on his first 4,000-yard passing season. And, we've given Josh Allen this MVP, and I'm guessing he will win it just because of voter boredom. Lamar won it last year. He's won 2 already. Josh has never won one. But this has been Lamar's best season of his career. He's never thrown the ball better. Sure, he's going to have less rushing yards, but he's just as effective as a rusher, and he's still going to be well over 800 rushing yards. Like, I would probably vote for Josh, but it's pretty close, man. Like, with the years these two guys have had, I mean, Lamar Jackson is closing in on a 4,000-yard passing season, 40 passing touchdown season. He has 39 passing touchdowns now. So if he throws for a touchdown next week, and I think he just has to throw for like 120 yards, 4,000 yards passing, 40 passing touchdowns, and he's going to have over 800 rushing yards, and I don't know how many rushing touchdowns he has, but it's probably going to be over 5,000 all-purpose yards and maybe over 5,000 50 total touchdowns. I mean, he's had an insane season. Now, Josh will probably get it because that's how voters operate. And listen, I would probably vote for Josh too. I think he's got less to work with from an entire team point than Baltimore, but it is just kind of funny. Baltimore, for a lot of the season, the defense didn't look great. They were losing games they shouldn't. Well, here they are, 11-5. By the way, the defense is locked in, has played really well for about a month now. They look like a team ready for a playoff run. They really, really do. And that kind of gets me to the AFC playoff picture here, and then just some big picture discussions with teams in the AFC. So the Chiefs have clinched home field advantage. They are good to go. Buffalo, if they win this week, would clinch the 2 seed. So they play the Jets. So you beat the Jets, rest your starters week 18. Ravens, if they beat Cleveland or if the Steelers lose to Cincinnati, they will clinch the 3 seed. Houston's locked in as the 4. Pittsburgh's not out of the woods for the 5 seed though. If they win next week, they'd be in good position to get the 5 seed. We'll see what the tiebreaker situation would be if somehow the Chargers and the Broncos all finished 11-6 or 10-7. Chargers and Broncos magic number is 1. If they each win a game, they are in. If they were to lose out and depending on what the 7 and 8 teams do, Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals were to win out, they could be pushed out. So that still is yet to be determined. But I just, before we get out of here, I kind of want to just have a big picture discussion and just, it's kind of funny how these things play out, right? Because who's been the face of the AFC the last several years? Well, obviously the Chiefs, which they are, again, 15-1. But who else? The Ravens, 11 wins, peaking at the right time. Defense finally catching up to the offense this year, right there. Well, easily the best team in the AFC North. By the time the full season play out, remember, Steelers, they got this huge game lead. Well, here we are. Baltimore's going to win the division again. Buffalo, oh, we traded Stephon Diggs. We had to cut a bunch of veterans. They're 12-3. Burrow's the other guy, but their defense has been so bad this year that, they're going to need a miracle to get in. So all these new faces, here's Stroud, here's Pittsburgh with revitalized Russell Wilson. The big three is the big three. It's Mahomes and the Chiefs, Allen and the Bills, Lamar and the Ravens. Not Burrow this year, but those 4 guys in those 4 teams, they're the teams we're always talking about this time of year. And it's going through Arrowhead Stadium again. You guys bet against the Chiefs if you want to. I won't. But how special is that divisional round matchup going to be between Josh Allen and the Bills and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? Have we gotten that in the playoffs? I'd have to double check. Maybe we've gotten it once, but that's likely going to be the divisional round in Buffalo if the Bills win one of their final 2 games and the Ravens win next week. That's going to be spectacular. And then the winner will likely get the Chiefs, assuming the Chiefs beat the winner of, Houston, Pittsburgh, or if, a 6 or 7 seed pulls off an upset. But man, it's crazy how it plays out. The cream always rises to the top. And that's what we're seeing here once again. We got full NFL action the rest of the week. You got Bears, Seahawks tomorrow night. Seattle needs to win to basically keep their playoff hopes alive. They're not completely dead if they lose, but they would need a miracle. And then got a full slate of games Sunday. And then it's week 18. And then it's, it's creeping up. Like we are near the end of the season, which is sad, but it's also exciting because this is why you play. You play for these big games. So can't wait for it all to be here. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button. Happy holidays, everybody. We appreciate you for all being here. We will see you guys soon here on Verts with more NFL and college football coverage. Enjoy your Christmas.